The wind does not scream here, it hums. It is a low, constant vibration against the thick stone walls of the northern outpost. Outside, the world has been erased by white. The snow began falling days ago, covering the dark forests of pine and the frozen mud of the roads, until everything became a soft, undulating blanket of pale silence. It is the deep winter of the frontier. The air outside is sharp enough to freeze breath in the throat, a cold that settles into the bones of the earth. But here, inside the heavy fortifications, the cold is only a memory, a ghost that presses against the windows but cannot enter. You do not need to focus on these words. They are merely a backdrop, like the slow ticking of a clock or the gentle crackle of a fire. If your mind wanders, let it wander. There is no history here that needs to be remembered. There are no dates to memorize. There is only the feeling of warmth and the slow passage of time. Imagine the ground beneath your feet. In this place, the floors are warm. It is a marvel of engineering hidden away from sight. Beneath the mosaic tiles, beneath the polished stone where the soldiers and the scribes walk, there is a hollow space. This is the Hypocaust. It is the heart of the winter warmth. Deep underground in the brick-lined chambers, a fire burns. It is not a raging, wild fire, but a tamed, steady heat. The air in the underground chamber is dry and smells faintly of wood smoke and dried clay. A man sits on a low wooden stool. His tunic is made of undyed wool, rough and thick. He is not a general. He is not a senator. He is the keeper of the fire. His life is simple. His task is repetitive. He picks up a log of seasoned oak. The wood is heavy, dense, and dry. He feels the rough bark against his palm. He moves with a slowness that comes from years of doing the same thing. There is no rush. The winter night is long, and the fire must burn until dawn. He places the log into the mouth of the furnace. The movement is smooth. The fire accepts the wood. The flames curl around it, orange and yellow, licking the dry bark. A small spark rises and vanishes into the darkness of the flue. The man watches it fade. He exhales slowly. His breath does not mist here. It is warm. Above him, through the specialized channels in the walls, the hot air rises. It travels through hollow clay tiles, heating the stone of the room above. This is how the Emperor's bunker stays warm while the world outside freezes at 30 degrees below freezing. The heat radiates from the floor, soaking into the sandals of those who walk above, rising to the high ceilings, pushing back the frost. Let your shoulders drop. Let the tension leave your jaw. You are safe inside these walls. The storm outside cannot touch you. The stone is 3 feet thick. It was cut from the quarry miles away, dragged by oxen and set by hands that knew the value of a straight line. The blocks fit together so perfectly that not even a knife blade could slide between them. They are solid. They are permanent. They are a barrier between the warmth of the inside and the biting cold of the Germanic winter. The keeper of the fire shifts on his stool. He reaches for a clay cup of water. It is tepid, room temperature. He takes a small sip. The water tastes of the earth, clean and simple. He sets the cup down. The sound of the clay touching the wooden table is dull thud, a soft, heavy sound. It is quiet down here. The only sound is the low roar of the draft drawing air into the furnace and the occasional pop of the wood. Time moves differently when you are watching a fire. There are no hours, only the consumption of fuel. The pile of wood next to the wall is high. It is stacked in neat rows, birch, oak, ash. The bark of the birch is papery and white, peeling away in thin, curly strips. The oak is dark and furrowed. The ash is smooth and gray. The man looks at the stack. He counts the rows, not because he needs to, but because it is something to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbers float in his mind, light and meaningless. Upstairs, the villa is silent. The lamps have been lit. They are small clay vessels, filled with olive oil imported from the sunny groves of the south, far away from this frozen land. A small linen wick floats in the oil. The flame is small, shaped like a teardrop. It gives off a golden light that barely reaches the corners of the room. The shadows are long and soft. They stretch across the painted plaster of the walls, moving gently whenever a draft touches the flame. A soldier stands guard at the end of a corridor. He is not fighting. He is not marching. He is simply standing. He leans his spear against the wall. The metal tip gleams faintly in the lamplight. He adjusts his heavy red cloak, pulling it tighter around his shoulders. The cloak is made of heavy, felted wool, natural oils left in the fabric to repel water. It is heavy, comforting weight. He shifts his weight from one foot to the other. The floor is warm beneath his caligy, the heavy hobnailed boots of the Legion. He can feel the heat from the Hypocaust seeping through the thick soles. It is a luxury. He looks out of the narrow window slit. The opening is small, designed to keep arrows out and heat in. Through the thick glass, green and distorted, he can see nothing but the swirling white of the snow. The wind hits the other side of the glass, but the sound is muffled, distant. It sounds like the ocean far away. The soldier blinks slowly. His eyes are heavy. The shift is long. There is nothing to report. The barbarians are in their huts, huddling for warmth just as the Romans are. The peace of winter is enforced by the cold. There is no need to be alert. The walls are high. The gates are barred with heavy beams of oak, reinforced with iron bands. The iron is cold to the touch, covered in a thin layer of frost on the outside, but here in the corridor the air is still. Let us return to the underground chamber. The fire keeper picks up a metal poker. It is a long rod of iron, the end blackened by years of heat. He pushes the logs gently. The embers at the bottom glow brighter, a deep, pulsating red. They look like breathing jewels. The heat washes over his face, dry and soothing. He closes his eyes for a moment. The darkness behind his eyelids is warm. He listens. Can you hear the silence? It is not an empty silence. It is a heavy, filled silence. It is the silence of a library or a sleeping house. It is the sound of safety. In the corner of the underground room, a cat sleeps on a pile of empty grain sacks. It is a mouser kept to protect the grain stores. It is curled into a tight circle, its tail tucked over its nose. Its fur is gray and white. It breathes rhythmically, its side rising and falling. The firekeeper watches the cat. He envies its ability to sleep anywhere, anytime. The cat's ear twitches, then settles. It is dreaming of summer, perhaps, dreaming of tall grass and warm stones in the sun. But summer is far away. Here, it is the season of stone and fire. The winter solstice has passed, but the nights are still long. The sun dipped below the horizon hours ago, leaving the sky a bruised purple before fading into absolute black. Now the only light comes from the fire and the stars, though the stars are hidden tonight behind the thick clouds of snow. The man stands up slowly. His joints pop softly. He walks to the woodpile. His sandals scuff against the dirt floor. Scuff, scuff, scuff. He selects another log. This one is pine. It smells of resin, a sharp, clean scent that cuts through the smoke. He tosses it onto the fire. The resin catches quickly, snapping and hissing as it burns. A sudden flare of yellow light illuminates the brick arches of the ceiling. The bricks are arranged in a herringbone pattern, precise and orderly. Every brick was laid by hand. Every brick serves a purpose. He sits back down. The rhythm of the night is established. Wood, fire, heat. Wood, fire, heat. It is a cycle that keeps the cold at bay. On the floor above, in the main atrium of the commander's quarters, a scribe is finishing his work for the day. The room is large, but the heat from the floor makes it comfortable. The scribe sits at a wooden desk. He is rubbing his eyes. The parchment before him is filled with lines of neat cursive script. He is cataloging supplies: grain, oil, wine, vinegar, salted pork, wool tunics, spare hobnails. The list is endless. The logistics of the empire are boring, and that is why they work. He dips his reed pen into the inkwell. The ink is black, made from soot and gum. He writes the number X for 10. He writes the number V for 5. The scratching of the pen on the parchment is the loudest sound in the room. Scritch, scratch. He pauses to blow on the ink to dry it. He rolls the parchment carefully. The dry papyrus crinkles. He ties it with a leather strap. His work is done. He stands and stretches, his shadow stretching with him against the frescoed wall. The wall is painted with a scene of a garden with green leaves and red birds. It is a reminder of the world that exists beyond the snow. He walks to the brazier in the corner of the room to warm his hands one last time before heading to his sleeping quarters. The bronze of the brazier is polished, reflecting the firelight. He holds his palms out. The warmth is immediate. You are drifting now. The images are soft. The snow falling outside, piling up against the stone. The fire burning below, steady and sure. The scribe putting away his pen. The soldier leaning on his spear. The cat sleeping on the sacks. Everything is in its place. Everything is as it should be. The Roman night is vast. It stretches from the sands of Syria to the snows of Britannia. But here, in this specific place, the world has shrunk to the size of a warm room. The concerns of the Senate are irrelevant. The decrees of the emperor are distant echoes. All that matters is the heat. All that matters is the shelter. The firekeeper hums a low tune. It is not a song with words. It is just a melody older than the empire. A tune his mother might have hummed while grinding grain. It vibrates in his chest. The sound is comforting. He does not know you are listening. He is alone in his warm underground world. As the pine log burns down, the light dims slightly, returning to a deep, glowing orange. The shadows in the corners of the room grow deeper, softer. It is a visual lullaby. The darkness is not scary. It is like a blanket, a velvet blanket pulled up to the chin. Imagine the snow outside again. Millions of flakes, each one unique, falling through the dark air. They land on the roof tiles. They land on the frozen ground. They land on the branches of the pine trees, weighing them down until they look like slumped shoulders. The snow absorbs sound. It muffles the world. It creates a cocoon of silence around the fort. Inside the cocoon, life is slow. There is no urgency. The tasks are done. The food has been eaten. The wine has been drunk. Now is the time for rest. The body knows it. The mind knows it. The firekeeper leans his head back against the brick wall. The bricks are warm. He closes his eyes. He is not asleep, but he is resting. He is waiting for the wood to burn down just enough to add another piece. He knows the timing by instinct. He does not need to watch. He can feel the heat changing on his skin. This is the life of the bunker, a life of maintenance, a life of warmth in the face of the freezing void. It is a victory of stone and fire over wind and ice, but it is a quiet victory, a boring victory. Feel the weight of the blankets on your own bed. Imagine they are the heavy wool cloaks of the legion, warm and secure. The air in your room is cool, but under the covers you are warm, just like the Hypocaust. You are safe. You are protected. There is nothing else you need to do tonight. The empire will stand without your help. The fire will burn without your assistance. The snow will fall whether you watch it or not, so you can let go. The heat from the underground fires travels slowly. It moves through the stone like a secret, seeping upward, finding its way into the heavy masonry of the kitchen. Here the air is different. It is not just warm, it is thick. It carries the scent of things that sustain life. It smells of ground wheat, of yeast that has been bubbling quietly in a ceramic bowl for hours, and of the faint, sweet scent of heated olive oil. This is the scent of survival. Deep in the service wing of the bunker, the bakery is awake while the rest of the fort sleeps, but it is a quiet wakefulness. There is no clanging of pots, no shouting of orders. There is only the rhythmic sound of preparation. Thump, swish, fold. A man stands at a massive wooden table. The wood is old, scrubbed white by years of cleaning, its surface smooth as river stone. It is covered in a fine dusting of flour. The flour is pale like the snow outside, but it is not cold. It is soft and dry. The baker is preparing the panis militaris, the soldier's bread. It is a dense, heavy bread made to fill the stomach and fuel the march, though tomorrow there will be no marching. Tomorrow there will only be the snow. The baker's hands are large and dusted with white. He presses the heels of his palms into the mound of dough. The dough is elastic and tough. It resists him, then yields. He pushes it away, then folds it back over itself. Push, fold, turn. The motion is hypnotic. He has done this 1,000 times, 10,000 times. His mind does not need to be present. His hands know the work. He pauses to reach for a jug of water. The jug is made of heavy terracotta, unglazed and porous. It is cool to the touch. He pours a small splash into the dough. The water disappears into the flour. He begins to knead again. The sound is wet and heavy now. Squish. Pat. In the corner, the ovens are waiting. They are large, beehive-shaped structures built of brick and clay. They radiate a dry, intense heat that pushes back against the drafts from the hallway. Inside the ovens, the fire has died down to a bed of glowing coals, pushed to the back to make room for the loaves. The heat is stored in the bricks, a battery of warmth that will bake the bread slowly and evenly. On a shelf above the table, rows of amphorae stand like silent sentinels. They are tall, with 2 handles and pointed bottoms leaning against the wall in a wooden rack. They hold the treasures of the South: olive oil from Baetica, wine from Gaul, fish sauce from Pompeii. The baker reaches for one of the smaller jars. He tilts it carefully. The oil flows out in a slow, golden-green ribbon. It catches the light of the oil lamp, shimmering as it pools on the wooden board. The smell of the oil is grassy and rich. It reminds the nose of summer, of dry hills and buzzing cicadas, a stark contrast to the silent, frozen world outside the thick walls. You do not need to taste the bread. You do not need to smell the oil. Just imagine the textures, the smoothness of the oil, the roughness of the flour sack, the solid wood of the table. These are simple things, real things. The baker wipes his hands on a linen cloth hanging from his belt. The cloth is stained with flour and oil, stiff with use. He takes a scraper, a small flat piece of iron, and cleans the surface of the table, gathering the stray bits of dough. Scrape, scrape. The sound is sharp but low. He lifts the dough, dividing it into smaller rounds. He shapes them into balls, his hands cupping them gently. He places them on a wooden peel, a long-handled shovel used to slide the bread into the oven. He takes a knife and scores the top of each loaf, one line across, then another forming a cross, or sometimes he divides it into 8 sections like a wheel. The knife is sharp. It parts the dough cleanly. The dough size opens slightly where it is cut. He slides the peel into the dark mouth of the oven. With a quick jerk of his wrist, he deposits the loaves onto the hot brick floor. He pulls the peel back. He repeats this. Slide, jerk, pull. Slide, jerk, pull. Soon the oven is full. He places a heavy iron door over the opening. Now there is nothing to do but wait. The heat will do the work. The baker sits on a bench near the oven. The warmth is soporific. It presses against his eyelids. He leans his head back against the wall. He listens to the wind outside. It has picked up slightly, a low moan as it rounds the corner of the watchtower, but it is distant. It is irrelevant. Inside, it smells of baking bread. The scent begins to fill the room, warm and yeasty and comforting. It is the smell of home, no matter where you are in the empire. Let us leave the baker to his rest. We move quietly out of the kitchen down the stone corridor. The air gets cooler here, away from the ovens, but it is still far above freezing. The hallway is long and shadowed. Torches are set in iron brackets on the wall every 20 paces. They burn with a pitchy flame, casting flickering shadows that dance on the ceiling. The smoke from the torches drifts up to blacken the stone above. We turn a corner and enter the barracks. This is where the century sleeps. The room is long and rectangular. It is divided into cubicles or contubernia. In each section, 8 men live and sleep. Tonight, the heavy wool curtains that separate the sleeping quarters from the hallway are drawn close to keep the warmth in. We slip past the curtain. The air inside the sleeping quarters is heavy and humid. It smells of humans, of breath, of wool, of leather, and of sweat that has long since dried. It is not an unpleasant smell. It is a human smell. It is the smell of a pack, a herd, a family. There are bunk beds made of timber stacked too high. The wood is dark oak, smooth where hands have gripped it for years. On the bunks, the soldiers lie wrapped in layers of blankets. They are not wearing their armor. They are in their tunics. Some have pulled the blankets up over their heads, creating their own private caves of warmth. Listen to the sound of the room. It is a symphony of sleep. There is the deep, rhythmic breathing of a man in deep slumber. In, out, in, out. There is the occasional snore, a rough rumble that starts and stops. There is the rustle of straw stuffing in a mattress as someone shifts their weight. A soldier on the bottom bunk rolls over. The wooden frame creaks. Creak. He sighs, a long, ragged exhale, and settles back into the depression in his mattress. The mattress is a simple sack filled with straw and dried heather. It rustles softly, like dry leaves. At the foot of the bunks, the equipment is stacked with military precision. The shield's large, rectangular scuda are leaned against the wall. They are painted red, with gold lightning bolts and wings. In the dim light, the paint looks dark, almost black. The iron bosses in the center of the shields gleam dull and gray. Beside the shields hang the belts, the baltius. They are heavy leather straps covered in metal plates and studs. They hang limp and heavy. The leather is oiled and supple. Next to them are the swords, the gladii in their scabbards. They are sheathed. They are safe. There is no danger here. The metal is cold, but the wood of the handles is warm from the air of the room. On a shelf above the bed, a soldier has placed his personal items: a small clay dice cup, a wooden comb, a letter from home written on a thin slice of wood, the ink faded, a small bronze statue of a god, perhaps Mars or Mercury, no bigger than a thumb. These small objects cast long shadows in the gloom. They are the anchors of a life lived far from home. The floor of the barracks is paved with brick. In the center of the aisle, a small charcoal brazier burns. The coals are covered in gray ash, glowing faintly red through the cracks. It gives off a very gentle heat, just enough to take the edge off the air in the room. A small pot of water sits on top of the brazier, adding a tiny bit of moisture to the air. Steam rises from it in a thin, wavering line, disappearing into the darkness of the rafters. Imagine being one of these men. Your day was spent cleaning, repairing, perhaps drilling in the covered hall. Your muscles are tired. Your belly is full of the grain porridge and bacon from the evening meal. You are wrapped in wool that scratches slightly but holds the heat perfectly. You are surrounded by your brothers. You know that outside, the snow is burying the world, but here you are suspended in a warm, dark bubble. There is no tomorrow, only the continuation of tonight. Near the door of the barracks room, a pair of boots sits drying. They are the Caligae, heavy leather soles studded with iron hobnails. The leather upper is a lattice of straps. They are wet from the snow, the leather dark and sodden. But in the warmth of the room, they are slowly drying. The smell of wet leather is faint and earthy. By morning, they will be stiff but dry. Everything is drying. Everything is resting. We move further down the row of bunks. At the far end, a man is awake. He is sitting on the edge of his bed. He is old for a soldier, perhaps nearing the end of his 25 years of service. His hair is gray and cropped short. He is staring at the brazier, his eyes unfocused. He is not worried. He is simply awake. He reaches down and adjusts the strap of his sandal, though he is not wearing it. He touches the leather, running his thumb over a brass stud. The metal is cool. He finds comfort in the texture. He takes a deep breath, holds it, and releases it. He looks around the room at his sleeping comrades. He counts them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All present, all safe. He lies back down. He pulls the rough wool blanket up to his chin. He stares at the bottom of the bunk above him. The wood grain swirls in patterns that look like maps of unknown lands. He traces a line of grain with his eyes until they grow heavy. He blinks. Once. Twice. The darkness takes him back. Let your own eyes grow heavy. The scene is static. The soldiers sleep. The shields stand guard. The snow falls. Outside the barracks in the main courtyard there is a covered walkway. The roof is slanted and the snow slides off it in clumps with a soft whump sound every now and then. Whump, then silence. Whump, then silence. Under the walkway a lone sentry walks his beat. He is wrapped in a thick cloak, his hood pulled up. He walks slowly. His boots crunch on the few snowflakes that have blown onto the stone path. Crunch, crunch, crunch. He reaches the end of the walkway, turns, and walks back. 10 paces, turn. 10 paces, turn. He stops to look at a bronze basin filled with water intended for washing. The water has frozen over. A thin sheet of ice covers the surface. He touches it with his finger. The ice is smooth and cold. He presses down. The ice cracks with a sharp snap. A spiderweb of fractures appears. He watches the cracks for a moment, then withdraws his hand. He tucks it back under his cloak to warm it. He looks up at the sky. It is a void of swirling gray. There is no moon. There are no stars, just the endless descent of the snow. It falls on his hood, on his shoulders. He shakes it off. He is a statue that breathes. He is part of the architecture. The cold air on his face is bracing, but he knows that in an hour his watch will end. He will go into the warm barracks, take off his cold armor, and slide into a warm bed. The anticipation of warmth is almost as good as the warmth itself. The fort is a machine of stone and wood designed to keep the chaos of nature at bay. It works perfectly. The walls do not shiver. The pillars do not tremble. They stand. Back in the kitchen, the smell of bread has deepened. The crust is browning. The air is rich and toasted. The baker checks the hourglass. The sand runs through the narrow neck, grain by grain. It is a slow, steady trickle. Time is measured in sand and dough. The baker stands up and moves to the oven. He wraps his hand in a thick rag. He lifts the iron door. A blast of hot, bread-scented air escapes. It fills the room. He slides the peel in. He taps the loaves. They sound hollow. Thump, thump, they are ready. He pulls them out one by one. They are golden brown, round, and hot. He piles them in a wicker basket. The heat from the bread rises, warming his face. He smiles, a small, tired smile. The morning meal is ready. The cycle continues. Everything is prepared. Everything is ready. There is no need to worry about the future. The bread is baked. The soldiers are sleeping. The fire is burning. Rest in the certainty of this routine. The Roman world is a world of order, and tonight the order is maintained by sleep and snow. Deep under the floor, the Hypocaust fire flickers. A log shifts and settles into the ash. The heat pulses upwards, a heartbeat of warmth. Feel that warmth, it is for you. Leave the smell of baking bread behind. Let the golden warmth of the kitchen fade into the cooler, echoing stone of the hallway. We are moving deeper into the complex, towards the heart of the Roman luxury that persists even here, at the edge of the known world. We are going to the bathhouse. The corridor leading to the baths is lined with marble, not rough stone. The marble was brought from the quarries of Carrara, far to the south. It is white, veined with gray, cold and smooth to the touch. But as you walk down this hallway, the air begins to change. It grows heavier. It grows humid. A faint mist hangs in the air, softening the light of the iron lanterns. The smell changes too. It is the scent of wet stone, of minerals, of olive soap, and of clean, hot water. We push open a heavy wooden door. It swings on bronze hinges that have been oiled to silence. Whoosh! We step inside. We are in the apoditerium, the changing room. It is empty now. The benches of polished wood line the walls, silent and waiting. During the day, this room echoes with the voices of soldiers and officers, the slap of sandals on stone, the rustle of tunics being removed. But now, in the deep quiet of the night, it is a temple of stillness. The floor is a mosaic of black and white tiles. They are laid in a geometric pattern, a meandering line that turns back on itself, over and over, a labyrinth with no center. The light from a single hanging lamp reflects off the polished tiles. If you look closely, you can see the individual tesserae, the tiny cubes of stone, each one cut by hand, each one set into the mortar by a craftsman who has long since gone home to sleep. The imperfections in the stone catch the light, a chip here, a slightly raised edge there. These small details make it real. The air here is tepid. It is the transition zone. The cold of the outside world is forgotten, but the true heat is yet to come. We move through an arched doorway into the tepidarium, the warm room. The heat here is gentle, embracing. It is like the feeling of the sun on your skin on a spring afternoon. The walls are painted a deep, rich red, the color of dried clay or autumn leaves. The paint is warm to the look, adding to the sensation of comfort. There is no water in this room. It is a place for sitting, for letting the body adjust. There are marble benches curved to fit the human form. They are heated from within. The hypocaust extends under this floor, sending its invisible fingers of warmth up through the ceramic tiles, into the marble benches, and into the air. A slave, a bath attendant, is working in the corner. He moves with the slow, deliberate pace of the night shift. He holds a sponge, a natural sea sponge, large and porous. It is damp. He is wiping down the marble bench. Swish, swish. The sound is soft like a whisper. He dips the sponge into a bronze bucket of warm water. Splash. He wrings it out. Drip, drip, drip. The water falls back into the bucket, creating concentric circles that ripple outward and vanish. He does not look up. His world is the marble and the sponge. He cleans a surface that is already clean. It is a ritual of maintenance. The Romans believe in order, and cleanliness is a form of order. The attendant moves to the next bench. Swish, swish. The rhythm is soothing. It is a heartbeat of service. We leave him to his work and move towards the heavy leather curtains that separate the tepidarium from the inner sanctum. We push the leather aside. It is heavy, thick, and slick with condensation. We enter the caldarium, the hot room. Here the air is visible. Steam hangs in thick, lazy clouds. It swirls around the pillars, catching the light from the recessed lamps in the ceiling. The heat is intense, a physical weight that presses against the skin, relaxing every muscle, opening every pore. It is a tropical heat, moist and heavy, a stark, impossible contrast to the 30 degrees below zero that reigns just on the other side of the stone walls. The room is vaulted. The ceiling is curved, designed so that the condensation that forms on the stone does not drip onto the bathers below but slides down the curve of the vault to the walls, where it trickles down into gutters. Watch a single drop of water form on the ceiling. It grows heavy, catching the light like a diamond. It trembles. Then gravity takes it. It slides, slow and steady, tracing a wet path down the plaster. Down, 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 until it merges with the wet stone of the wall. In the center of the room is the hot pool, the Alveus. It is a large, rectangular basin lined with white marble steps leading down into the water. The water is steaming. It is clear, but the steam makes it look milky and mysterious. The surface is almost perfectly still. Almost. Every few seconds, a bubble of hot air rises from the inlet pipe at the bottom. It wobbles up through the water, breaking the surface with a soft bloop. Rings of water ripple out, distorting the reflection of the ceiling lamps. The ripples travel to the edge of the pool and lap against the marble. Lap, lap. A tiny, wet sound. Then stillness returns. Imagine stepping into that water. Imagine the heat enveloping your feet, then your calves, your knees, your waist. The water supports you. It takes the weight of gravity away. You float. You are weightless in the heat. But tonight the pool is empty. It belongs to the steam. Near the pool, a small fountain trickle feeds fresh water into the basin. The spout is shaped like the head of a lion. The water flows from the lion's mouth in a clear, continuous glass rod. It strikes the surface of the pool without splashing, just merging into the mass of hot water. The sound is a continuous, low-pitched hum. Huyum. It is a form of white noise, natural and constant. The walls of the caldarium are hollow. They are lined with tubuli, rectangular clay pipes that carry the hot air from the furnace up the walls. If you were to place your hand against the plaster wall, it would be hot to the touch. The entire room is a machine for living. It is an engine of comfort. The humidity here softens everything. The edges of the room are blurred. The light is diffused. It feels like being inside a cloud, a warm, safe cloud deep underground. Let us sit on the edge of the pool for a moment. The marble is wet and warm. We watch the steam rise. It moves in slow, unpredictable patterns. It curls and unfolds, dancing a slow dance that has no beginning and no end. It is mesmerizing. It requires nothing from you. You can just watch it exist. High above there is a small window in the vaulted ceiling, a oculus. It is covered with thick, translucent glass. Outside, the snow is piling up on the glass, burying the window. The light that comes through is non-existent tonight. The world outside is gone. There is only this room. We stand up slowly, feeling the heavy, damp air slide off our skin. We move back through the leather curtains, back through the warm tepidarium, and finally we reach the last chamber, the frigidarium, the cold room. The air here is crisp. It is not freezing like the outside, but it is cool, refreshing after the intense heat of the caldarium. The transition wakes the senses gently, then soothes them. The room is high-ceilinged with a large, circular pool in the center. The water here is dark, unheated. It reflects the room like a black mirror. The floor is a masterpiece of mosaic ocean scenes. Dolphins with arched backs, tritons blowing conch shells, octopuses with curling tentacles. They are frozen in stone, swimming in a dry sea. The water in the pool is perfectly flat. It looks like a sheet of black glass. There is no sound here, no steam hissing, no fire crackling, just absolute heavy silence. The water is waiting. It has a depth to it, a solidity. A towel lies forgotten on a bench. It is made of linen bleached white. It is folded neatly. Someone left it there, or perhaps the attendant placed it there for the first bather of the morning. It sits there, a soft object in a room of hard stone and water. We walk around the edge of the pool. Our footsteps echo slightly. Clip-clop. The sound is sharp but quickly swallowed by the size of the room. We run a hand along the edge of a column. The stone is cool, polished limestone. It feels solid, grounding. We exit the bathhouse complex, stepping back into the corridor. The air feels neutral now. We have experienced the heat and the cool. The body is regulated. The mind is calm. We walk further down the hall. We pass a door that is slightly ajar. Inside, we see the library, or what serves as one in this frontier outpost. It is a small room lined with wooden pigeonholes. Scrolls are tucked into them, their ends showing the small wooden tags that identify their contents. The Gallic Wars, the Aeneid, treatises on agriculture. A single lamp burns on a desk. A map is spread out on the table. It is a map of the region. The ink lines show rivers, roads, and forests, but the map is static. The real world outside has changed. The rivers are frozen, the roads are buried, the forests are white. The map is a memory of summer. A pair of reading glasses, an emerald lens set in a bronze frame, sits on the map. The Emperor Nero used such a gem to watch the gladiators, they say. Here, it is used to decipher the tiny script of logistical reports. The green stone catches the lamplight, glowing faintly. The room smells of papyrus and old leather. It is a dry, dusty smell, the smell of knowledge. It is a quiet place. No one is reading tonight. The words are sleeping in their scrolls. The history is paused. We continue our walk. The fortress is a labyrinth of safety. We pass the shrine of the standards, the Eads. This is the sacred heart of the fort. The iron gates are locked, but through the bars we can see the glint of gold and silver. The legionary eagle, the Aquila, stands on a pole, wings spread. It is surrounded by the standards of the cohorts. They are silent sentinels, watching over the sleeping soldiers. A small oil lamp burns eternally before the eagle. The flame is steady. It does not flicker. The air in the shrine is still. The gold of the eagle reflects the tiny flame. It looks like a star in the darkness. This is the symbol of Rome. It represents power, yes, but here, tonight, it represents continuity. It has been here for years. It will be here for years to come. We move on. We approach the stairs that lead down to the storage cellars. The air gets cooler as we descend. The stairs are stone, worn down in the center by generations of feet. Down here it smells of earth and wine. Rows of large wooden barrels line the walls. They are bound with iron hoops. They are filled with the sour, watered wine of the Legion. The wood of the barrels is dark, stained by leaks and time. A mouse scurries across the floor. Skitter, skitter. It vanishes behind a barrel. Silence returns. We find a stack of firewood, the reserve for the hypocaust. The logs are cut and split, stacked in a wall of timber. The cut ends of the wood look like eyes staring out. The wood is waiting to be burned, waiting to become heat. There is a sense of abundance here. There is enough wood. There is enough wine. There is enough grain. The bunker is stocked. The siege of winter can last as long as it wants. The empire is prepared. We walk back up the stairs, the sound of our breathing the only accompaniment. We return to the main level. We find ourselves near a window that looks into the inner courtyard. The snow has stopped falling for a moment. The clouds have parted slightly. A single star is visible, high and cold. It twinkles sharply. Below it, the courtyard is a landscape of untouched white. The snow has drifted against the columns, creating soft, curved shapes. The fountain in the center is a mound of ice. Everything is frozen in place. It is a painting of a winter night. But inside, on the other side of the glass, it is warm. You are on the warm side. The glass is a shield. You can look at the cold, but you do not have to feel it. You are walking down the corridor again. The rhythm of your walking is slow. Left, right, left, right. There is no destination. The walk itself is the purpose. You pass a bench and decide to sit. It is a wooden bench with a high back. You sit down. You lean your head back. You look at the ceiling. The beams are heavy oak, darkened by smoke. They cross each other in strong, supportive patterns. They are holding up the roof. They are holding up the snow. You close your eyes. You listen to the hum of the fort. It is a low frequency, a vibration of stone and fire. It is the sound of a machine that is working perfectly. You are part of this machine. You are safe within it. The Emperor's bunker was built for this exact moment, to provide a haven of stillness in a chaotic world. The bath attendant has finished his work. The firekeeper is watching the embers. The baker is resting. The soldiers are dreaming. The scribe is asleep. And you are here, witnessing the peace. There is a heavy curtain nearby covering a doorway to a private room. The fabric is velvet, a deep purple. It looks soft. You reach out and touch it. The velvet is plush under your fingers. You run your hand down the fabric. It is smooth, with a slight resistance. You pull the curtain aside slightly. Inside is a small room with a bed. The bed is piled high with furs. Wolf fur, bear fur, sheepskin. It looks incredibly soft and warm. A small brazier glows in the corner. This is a place for deep sleep, a place where the winter cannot find you. The scene fades slowly. The steam of the bathhouse, the smell of the library, the glow of the eagle, the white of the snow. They all blend together into a soft, gray mist. The mist is warm. It wraps around you. The night deepens. The silence of the bunker becomes a physical weight, pressing down on the eyelids, smoothing out the furrows of the brow. We leave the soft luxury of the bathhouse and move toward the working heart of the fortress. Here, the stone floors are not polished marble, but beaten earth and heavy flagstones, worn smooth by the passage of iron-shod wheels and heavy boots. We are entering the fabrica, the workshops. Even in the middle of the night, there is a lingering warmth here. It is the memory of the day's labor. The air smells different. It smells of iron filings, of charcoal dust, of boiled leather, and of heavy grease. It is a masculine, industrial scent, grounding and solid. The main workshop is a large, high-ceilinged hall. Shadows hang thick in the rafters, hiding the heavy beams that support the roof. Along the walls, workbenches are arranged in neat rows. They are massive slabs of oak, scarred by chisels and stained by oil. On the walls behind them, tools hang on wooden pegs. Hammers of all sizes, sledgehammers, ball-peen hammers, planishing hammers, tongs with long black handles, files and rasps. They hang motionless, their metal surfaces dull in the low light. They are sleeping tools, waiting for the hands that will wield them at dawn. In the center of the room stands the forge. The fire is banked for the night, covered with a thick layer of ash to keep the coals alive until morning. A faint, reddish glow pulses beneath the gray ash, like a heartbeat deep underground. It casts a weak, amber light on the anvil that stands next to it. The anvil is a block of iron, cold and hard. It has a presence. It is the altar of the smith. At a small bench in the corner, a lone armorer is finishing a task. He is not forging, he is maintaining. The heavy ringing of the hammer would be too loud for this hour. Instead, he is polishing. He holds a piece of Larica segmentata, the segmented plate armor of the legionary. It is a curved strip of iron attached to leather straps. The metal has a spot of rust, a tiny blemish caused by the melting snow. The armorer holds a rag soaked in olive oil and fine sand. He rubs the metal. Swish, swish, rub. The motion is circular, small, tight circles. He focuses on the rust spot. He does not look around. His world is that 1 square inch of iron. The sound is a soft rasping, repetitive and rhythmic. Scrub, scrub, scrub. He wipes the oil away with a clean cloth. He inspects his work. The rust is gone. The metal shines, reflecting the flame of the oil lamp on his bench. He nods, satisfied. He takes a pot of lanolin, the grease from sheep's wool, and smears a thin layer over the iron to protect it from the damp. His fingers are stained black, but he moves with the delicacy of a surgeon. He picks up the next piece, a helmet, a galea. It is made of iron with brass trim. He checks the cheek guards. They move on their hinges, squeak, a tiny sound. He dips a small brush into a pot of oil and dabs it into the hinge. He works the cheek guard back and forth. Click, clack, click, clack. The squeak is gone. Now it moves silently. This is the work of the empire. Not always battles and speeches, but the quiet application of oil to a hinge, the removal of rust, the tightening of a buckle. It is the work of preservation. The armorer sets the helmet down. He leans back on his stool. He stretches his back. Crack. He rubs his eyes with the back of his wrist. He is tired, but it is a good tired. The work is done. The equipment is ready. He stands up and blows out the lamp. The corner of the workshop plunges into darkness, save for the faint glow from the forge. He walks out, his boots making no sound on the dirt floor. We drift past the leatherworking station. Here the smell is sharper, tannins and beeswax. Rolls of leather are stacked on shelves. Cowhide, calfskin, goat leather. They are brown and tan and black. On a table lies a soldier's tent, a papilio. It is made of heavy goatskin panels stitched together. It is being repaired. A large needle is left stuck in the leather, a wax thread trailing from its eye. A block of beeswax sits nearby, used to coat the thread so it slides easily and seals the holes against the rain. The scene is frozen. The needle waits, the thread waits, the leather waits. There is no urgency. The tent will be fixed tomorrow or the day after. For now, it rests. We leave the workshop and step into a covered colonnade. To our left is the open courtyard filled with snow. To our right is a long, low building. We can hear low sounds coming from within. Snorts, heavy breaths, the stomping of a hoof. This is the stable. We slide the wooden bolt of the door. It moves heavily. We open the door just enough to slip inside. The warmth hits us immediately. It is a different kind of warmth than the bathhouse or the kitchen. This is a living warmth. It is humid and smells of hay, straw, horses, and leather. It is an earthy, pungent, comforting smell. It is the smell of life. The stable is long, with stalls on either side. A central aisle runs down the middle, paved with cobbles that are covered in a soft layer of straw to muffle the sound of hooves. The horses are the cavalry mounts of the auxiliary wings. They are large animals, strong and shaggy with their winter coats. Most of them are asleep. Horses can sleep standing up, locking their legs in place. They stand like statues in the gloom, their heads lowered, their eyes closed. We walk slowly down the aisle. The straw rustles under our feet. Rustle, rustle. In the first stall, a gray mare shifts her weight. She opens one eye, large and dark and liquid. She looks at us without fear. She blinks slowly, her long lashes brushing her cheek. She lets out a long breath through her nose. Pffffffffft. Her lips flutter. The sound is low and vibrating. She closes her eye again. She is safe. She is warm. We can see the steam rising from their backs. The heat of their large bodies warms the air of the stable, keeping the freezing night at bay. In the next stall, a bay horse is chewing. He has a mouthful of hay. Crunch, crunch, grind. The sound is methodical. He chews, swallows, and reaches for more. The hay is dry and sweet-smelling. It was harvested in the summer under a hot sun and stored in the loft above. Now it releases the memory of that summer sun into the winter night. A stable hand is asleep at the far end of the aisle. He is lying on a pile of clean straw, wrapped in a horse blanket. A dog is curled up next to him, a shaggy mongrel used for herding. The boy's hand rests on the dog's flank. They breathe in unison. The rise and fall of the boy's chest matches the rise and fall of the dog's ribs. Above the stalls in the loft, mice scurry through the loose hay. They are invisible, just tiny rustles in the dry grass. A barn owl sits on a rafter, high up in the shadows. It is a silent white shape. It watches with unblinking eyes, then tucks its head under its wing. Even the hunter is resting tonight. There is a water trough carved from stone. The water is dark and still. A horse dips its muzzle in to drink. Slurp, slurp. The water drips from its mouth as it lifts its head. Drip, splash. The rhythm of the stable is slow and biological. It is the rhythm of breathing, of chewing, of sleeping. There is no metal here, only flesh and wood and straw. We stop to pat the neck of a black stallion. His coat is thick and coarse, oily to the touch to repel the rain. He feels incredibly warm. His muscles are solid beneath the skin. He leans into the touch, seeking the contact. You can feel the slow thud of his heart against his ribs. Thump, 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 thump. A slow, powerful beat. We move away, leaving the horses to their dreams. We exit the stable, closing the door quietly to keep the warmth inside. We are back in the corridor. The air is cooler here, but we carry the memory of the stable's warmth with us. Our next destination is the Horia, the granary. This is the stomach of the fort. It is a massive building, built with thick stone walls and buttresses to hold the weight of the roof and the pressure of the grain inside. The floor of the granary is raised on small stone pillars. This allows air to circulate underneath, keeping the grain cool and dry, safe from the damp of the ground. We climb a few steps to the entrance. Inside, the air is incredibly dry. It smells of dust and dried wheat. It is a smell that tickles the back of the nose. It is the smell of harvest. The room is filled with wooden bins. They are filled to the brim with grain, wheat, barley, oats. The wealth of the empire is not gold, it is this. This is what keeps the legions marching. This is what keeps the peace. We walk between the bins. The grain is piled high like golden sand dunes. We reach out and run a hand through the wheat. The kernels are hard and smooth. They flow through our fingers like water. Shhh, shhh. The sound of shifting grain is like the sound of rain on a roof. There are sacks stacked in the corners, sacks of lentils, sacks of beans, sacks of salt. The salt sacks are heavy and stiff. They absorb the moisture from the air, protecting the rest of the food. It is quiet here. The thick walls block out all sound from the outside. There is no wind, no voices, only the silence of stored energy. A ledger lies on a small table near the door. It records the intake and outflow of grain. The numbers are precise. Received 500 modi of wheat. Issued 20 modi to the bakery. The system works. The soldiers are fed. The horses are fed. There is no shortage. There is a sense of deep security in a full granary. It is a primal feeling. The winter can rage, the snow can fall, but here inside there is food. We will not starve. We will not freeze. We walk to the far end of the granary. There is a small window, high up, covered with a wooden shutter. A sliver of moonlight comes through a crack in the shutter. It illuminates a single beam of dust motes dancing in the air. They float, suspended in the stillness. They drift up, then down, caught in microcurrents of air that we cannot feel. Watch the dust motes. They are like tiny stars. They move in slow motion. There is no hurry. They have nowhere to go. They just exist. We sit down on a sack of barley. It is firm but yields slightly to our weight. It is comfortable. We lean back against the wooden wall. The wood is cool and dry. Imagine the fields where this grain grew. Imagine the hot sun of the summer, the wind blowing through the golden stalks. Imagine the reapers with their scythes, the rhythmic swishing sound of the harvest. All that sunlight, all that energy is trapped here in these dry kernels, waiting to be released as warmth. The granary is a battery of summer sunlight, stored for the winter night. We close our eyes and listen to the silence. It is a dry, dusty silence. It is very peaceful. Time passes, or perhaps it doesn't. In the granary, time stands still. The grain does not age, it waits. We stand up, brushing the flour dust from our tunic. We walk back toward the door. Our footsteps are muffled by the wooden floorboards. We step outside again. The transition from the dry granary to the humid night air is refreshing. We take a deep breath. The air is cold but clean. We look across the courtyard. We can see the faint glow of the fire from the bathhouse furnace, the dim light from the barracks window. The fort is sleeping, but it is alive. It is a living organism, breathing, consuming, resting. We are walking along the perimeter wall now. The walkway is wide and paved. To our left is the drop into the fort. To our right is the crenellated wall, and beyond it, the drop into the ditch and the snowy fields. We approach a guard tower. The door is open. Inside, a small fire burns in a brazier. A sentry is sitting on a stool, warming his hands. He has a wool blanket wrapped around his legs. He nods to us as we pass, a slow, sleepy nod. He does not speak. There is no need for words. We look out over the wall. The snow has stopped. The clouds are breaking up. The moon is beginning to show through. It casts a pale, silver light on the snow-covered landscape. The forest edge is a dark line in the distance. The trees are heavy with snow. The field between the fort and the forest is a smooth, unbroken sheet of white. It sparkles under the moonlight. It looks like a sea of diamonds. It is beautiful, and it is cold, deadly cold, but we are up here on the stone near the fire. We are spectators to the cold, not victims of it. The wind picks up slightly, blowing a spray of snow powder off the top of the wall. It swirls in the air like smoke, then settles. We pull our cloak tighter. The wool is thick and warm. We feel the contrast between the icy air on our cheeks and the warmth of our body under the cloak. It is a pleasant contrast. It makes us feel alive. We turn away from the wall and head back down the stairs. The stone steps are steep. We take them one by one, carefully, hand on the rail. We are returning to the center of the fort, to the heart of the bunker. We pass the hospital, the valetudinarium. It is quiet. The sick and injured are sleeping. We can smell medicinal herbs, sage, thyme, garlic, a soothing herbal smell. We do not go in. We leave them to their healing. We find ourselves back near the central heating plant. We can feel the vibration of the fire underground again. It is a homing beacon. The night is long, but it is not lonely. You are surrounded by the sleeping legion. You are surrounded by the stone walls. You are surrounded by the history of an empire that values order and endurance. Everything is stable. Everything is secure. The armorer has finished his polishing. The horses have finished their hay. The grain sits in the bins. The fire burns in the hypocaust. You can rest now. The work is done. The journey continues, deeper into the warmth, away from the working edges of the fort and toward its luxurious center. We leave the scent of hay and grain behind. We cross a small courtyard where the snow has been swept away, the stones dry and cold under the night sky, and step through a pair of double doors made of polished oak. We are entering the praetorium, the residence of the commander. Here, the frontier ends and Rome begins. The air in this hallway is different. It does not smell of industry or animals. It smells of cedarwood, of lavender, and of beeswax. It is a refined air, still and expensive. The floor beneath our feet changes. We are no longer walking on brick or beaten earth. We are walking on a thick woven carpet imported from the east. It is deep red with patterns of gold and black. Our footsteps are silenced completely. There is no sound of movement, only the feeling of wool yielding softly underfoot. The walls here are plastered and painted in the Pompeian style. Deep reds, vibrant ochres, and calming blacks. The panels depict architectural illusions, columns that aren't there, windows looking out onto imaginary sunny gardens. It is a trick of the eye, a reminder of the warm Mediterranean villas left far behind. But in the dim light of the night, the paintings are just soft blocks of color, comforting and enclosing. We pass a small shrine in a niche. A statuette of the Lares, the household god, stands guard. A small bowl of offerings, a piece of dried fruit, a flower petal sits before them. They are the guardians of the house, silent and watchful. We enter the private study, the tablinum. This is a room of quiet thought. The heavy velvet curtains are drawn across the doorway, blocking out any draft from the hallway. Inside, the temperature is perfect. The Hypocaust works efficiently here, heating the mosaic floor until it is warm enough to walk on barefoot. A single, high-quality beeswax candle burns on a bronze stand. Unlike the oil lamps in the barracks, this candle burns without smoke, without a flicker. It produces a clean, steady, golden light that illuminates the desk in the center of the room. The smell of the hot wax is sweet, like honey. A man sits at the desk. He is the camp prefect, the man responsible for the logistics of the entire legion. He is not young. His hair is thinning, his face lined with the patience of a bureaucrat. He is wearing a tunic of fine white wool, softer than the soldier's rough garb. He is working late, but there is no stress in his posture. It is a quiet, solitary habit. He is writing a letter, not a frantic order for reinforcements, but a routine request for supplies. He is asking for more lamp oil and a shipment of writing papyrus. It is the mundane administration of empire. Watch his hand. He holds a reed pen cut to a sharp point. He dips it into a small inkwell made of glass. The ink is black, thick, and glossy. It is a mixture of soot, gum arabic, and water. He taps the pen against the rim of the glass. Tap, tap. A tiny drop of ink falls back into the well. He touches the pen to the paper. The paper is papyrus, imported from Egypt. You can see the weave of the plant fibers, a grid of vertical and horizontal lines pressed together. The surface is slightly rough. The pen scratches across it. Scritch, scratch, scritch, scratch. The sound is dry and tactile. The ink flows into the fibers, turning from wet gloss to dry matte in seconds. He writes slowly. The Latin script is elegant with sweeping curves and sharp angles. He forms the letter S. He forms the letter P. He forms the letter Q. He forms the letter R. The rhythm of writing is hypnotic. Dip, write, pause, dip, write, pause. On the corner of the desk sits a clepsydra, a water clock. It is a vessel of bronze shaped like a bowl with a tiny hole in the bottom. Water drips from it into a lower container, marking the passage of time. Listen closely. Can you hear it? Drip, drip, drip. The interval is long. The water moves with the inevitability of gravity. It is the only clock that matters here. It does not tick, it flows. It measures the night in droplets. The sound is wet and small, a tiny percussion in the velvet silence of the room. The prefect stops writing. He reads over his work. He nods. He reaches for a stick of sealing wax. It is red, the color of dried blood. He holds it over the flame of the candle. The wax begins to soften. It shines. A drop forms at the end of the stick, heavy and viscous. It hangs there for a moment, trembling, catching the candlelight. He brings the wax over the bottom of the scroll. The drop falls, plop. It lands on the papyrus, spreading into a perfect circle. He puts the stick down and picks up his signet ring. It is heavy gold, engraved with a lion. He breathes on the ring to warm it slightly. Haya. He presses the ring into the soft, hot wax. He holds it there. 1, 2, 3. The wax cools around the metal, taking its shape. He lifts the ring. The impression is perfect. A tiny lion in a sea of red. The seal is set. The task is finished. He rolls the scroll up. The dry papyrus crinkles softly. Crinkles snap. He places it in a round wooden box with other scrolls. The lid fits with a satisfying thump. The prefect leans back in his chair. The chair is made of walnut with curved legs and a leather seat. It creaks gently as he shifts his weight. He looks at the candle flame. He watches the pool of melted wax at the base of the wick. It is a tiny lake of liquid gold. He is surrounded by objects of intellect. On the shelves behind him, rows of scrolls are stacked in hexagonal honeycomb racks. Philosophy, history, poetry. The wisdom of the Greeks and the Romans stored safely underground. The leather cases of the scrolls smell of tannins and age. There is a map on the wall painted on linen. It shows the known world. The Mediterranean is a blue oval in the center. Rome is a red star. Here, where we are, is just a blank space at the top marked Terra Incognita, unknown land. But it is not unknown to him. It is his home for the winter. He picks up a small object from his desk. It is a paperweight made of glass, a sphere. Inside the glass there is a swirl of blue color. He rolls it in his hand. It is cool and smooth. He holds it up to the candle. The light refracts through the glass, creating a rainbow on the desk surface. He watches the colors shift. Blue, green, violet. He sets the glass down. It makes a solid clack against the wood. He stands up. He extinguishes the candle with a small brass snuffer. The flame vanishes instantly. A thin trail of gray smoke rises, twisting in the air, smelling of burnt wick and wax. The room is now lit only by the faint light coming from the hallway. He walks out of the study, moving deeper into the private quarters. We follow him. We enter the cubiculum, the bedroom. This room is a cocoon. The walls are hung with tapestries depicting forest scenes, green trees, deer, soft grass. It brings the memory of nature inside. The bed is large, a massive frame of oak raised high off the floor. It is piled high with comfort. There is a mattress filled with wool. There are sheets of fine linen, cool and crisp. There are blankets of heavy wool dyed in rich purples and blues, and on top a coverlet of fur, beaver and fox, soft and incredibly warm. A brazier stands in the corner, glowing softly. It is made of copper, polished to a mirror shine. The coals inside are covered in white ash, releasing a gentle, steady heat. A small piece of dried orange peel has been placed on the coals. It smolders slowly, releasing a faint citrus scent that mixes with the beeswax and lavender. It is a clean, sleepy smell. The prefect sits on the edge of the bed. He unlaces his sandals. The leather straps are soft. He pulls them off and sets them on the floor. He wiggles his toes in the warm air. The floor is warm, heated from below. He removes his outer tunic, folding it neatly and placing it on a cedar chest at the foot of the bed. He is left in his linen undertunic. He climbs into the bed. The frame does not creak. It is solid. He pulls the covers up. First the linen sheet, then the wool blankets, then the heavy fur. The weight of the bedding is immense. It presses him down into the mattress. It is a comforting weight, like a heavy hand resting on his shoulder. He sinks into the pillow. The pillow is stuffed with goose down imported from the north. It is soft and yielding. His head settles into it. He reaches out and adjusts a small screen near the bed to block the glow of the brazier from his eyes. The room becomes dim. Listen to the silence in this room. It is the deepest silence in the fort. The walls are thickest here. The location is central. No wind can be heard, no footsteps, no horses, only the sound of the prefect's breathing, in, out, in, out. He is the mind of the fortress, and now the mind is resting. The decisions have been made. The orders have been written. The seal has been pressed. There is nothing left to do. You can imagine yourself in that bed. The linen is cool against your skin, but the heavy wool and fur trap your body heat instantly. You are in a warm cave. The light from the brazier reflects on the ceiling. It creates faint, wavering patterns, faint orange ripples that move slowly across the plaster. Watch them. They move like slow water, left to right, left to right. The orange peel scent is faint but pleasant. It relaxes the muscles. On a small table next to the bed, there is a silver cup of water. Condensation has formed on the outside of the metal. A single drop slides down the side of the cup. It leaves a trail in the moisture. It reaches the bottom and stops. Everything stops. The water clock in the other room continues to drip, but we cannot hear it here. Here, time is suspended. The Roman Empire is vast, stretching across continents. But tonight it has contracted to this single room, this single bed, this single moment of rest. The prefect closes his eyes. His breathing deepens. He is asleep. We back away slowly. We do not want to disturb the quiet. We move back through the study, past the cooling wax seal, past the dark desk. We move back into the hallway. The carpet swallows our footsteps. We are ghosts in the machine of the empire. We walk towards the atrium, the central courtyard of the commander's house. It is roofed over for the winter, but there is an opening in the center, the compluvium, which allows light in. Tonight, it is covered with a translucent sheet of oiled silk to keep the snow out while letting a faint, ghostly light filter through. In the center of the atrium is the impluvium, a shallow pool designed to catch rainwater. It is empty of rain but filled with water from the aqueduct system. Small oil lamps float on the water. They drift slowly, pushed by the gentle currents of the air. There are 4 lamps. They float in a circle. They do not touch, they just drift. The walls of the atrium are painted black, with tiny detailed garlands of flowers in green and white. The black walls make the room feel infinite, as if the walls have dissolved into the night itself. We sit on a marble bench near the pool. The marble is cushioned with a velvet pillow. We watch the floating lamps. One of the lamps bumps gently against the side of the pool. Clink. A tiny sound of pottery against stone. It bounces off and drifts back toward the center. The atmosphere is heavy with peace. It is a civilized peace. It is the peace of thick walls, full granaries, and established order. Outside, the temperature is dropping further. The trees are cracking with the cold. The wolves are huddling together. But here, the floating lamps cast a warm, yellow glow on the black water. We are safe. We are deep underground. We are protected by the Emperor's bunker. The scene holds. It does not change. It is a still life painting. Atrium with floating lamps. Let the image settle in your mind. The black water, the yellow flame, the red carpet, the white wool, the smell of wax. There is no need to think about the legions tomorrow. There is no need to think about the map. Just watch the lamp drift. It moves to the left, slowly it stops. It moves to the right, slowly. The water is smooth, glassy, reflecting the ceiling. This is the luxury of boredom, the luxury of safety. Take a deep breath. Can you smell the lavender? Can you smell the beeswax? Let the tension in your shoulders melt like the wax on the letter. Let your thoughts flow away like the ink into the papyrus. Let your body be heavy like the gold signet ring. You are here, you are warm, you are resting. We leave the soft, carpeted silence of the commander's quarters. We step back into the stone corridor, but this time we are not going up to the walls or out to the courtyard. We are going down, deep down. At the end of the main hallway there is a heavy door reinforced with iron bands. It is locked, but the key hangs on a hook nearby. The key is large, made of iron, cold and heavy in the hand. It fits into the lock with a metallic scrape. We turn it. Clack, clunk. The tumblers fall into place. The door swings open with a low groan of well-oiled hinges. Beyond lies a spiral staircase cut directly into the bedrock. The steps are narrow and steep. As we descend, the air changes again. It loses the scent of beeswax and lavender. It gains the scent of the earth itself. It smells of damp stone, of roots, of old wood, and of vinegar. This is the smell of preservation. This is the smell of the cella venerea, the wine cellar. We go down 10 steps, 20 steps, 30 steps. The temperature here is constant. It does not matter if it is summer or winter above. Down here in the belly of the earth, it is always cool, always stable. The freezing wind cannot reach this deep. The snow cannot bury this place. It is a bunker within a bunker. At the bottom of the stairs, the room opens up into a vast, cavernous hall. The ceiling is low, supported by thick arches of brick. The floor is packed earth, covered in a layer of clean river sand. The sand muffles our footsteps completely. Crunch, crunch, barely a whisper. The only light comes from the lantern we carry. Its flame casts long, dancing shadows against the curved walls. As we lift the lantern, we see them. The amphorae. Thousands of them. They stand in rows that stretch back into the darkness. They are tall, ceramic vessels, with 2 handles at the neck and a pointed bottom. They are buried halfway into the sand to keep them upright. They look like a field of strange, clay plants growing in the dark. Most of them are the color of terracotta, a warm, dusty orange. Some are pale yellow from the clay of North Africa. Some are gray. They are silent soldiers of supply. We walk down the first aisle. We run a hand along the shoulder of an amphora. The clay is cool and rough. It feels dry. We can feel the ridges where the potter's fingers shaped the clay on the wheel, round and round, years ago. Those fingerprints are baked into the stone forever. On the neck of the jar there is writing. It is painted in black ink, now faded to gray, titchly picty. It tells the story of the wine inside, Falernian, consulship of Ambience, white, old. The ink is dry. The wine inside is sleeping. It is aging slowly in the dark. The liquid is heavy, pressing against the clay walls. If you listen very closely, you can almost hear the silence of the liquid. It is a heavy, dense silence. A man is working here. He is the cellarius, the keeper of the cellar. He is an old man, stooped from years of carrying jars. He wears a thick wool tunic and a leather apron. He holds a small candle in a clay holder. He is checking the seals. The top of each amphora is sealed with a cork stopper, and then covered with a thick layer of pine pitch or pozzolana cement to keep the air out. The pitch is black and shiny. He moves to a jar. He holds the candle close. He runs his thumb over the black pitch. He is looking for cracks. Rub, rub. The skin of his thumb is rough, rasping softly against the smooth pitch. He finds no cracks. The seal is perfect. The wine is safe. He moves to the next jar. He repeats the motion. Lift candle, inspect, rub, move on. It is a slow dance. There is no music, only the rhythm of his work. He does not rush. He has all night. He has all winter. The smell of the pitch is sharp and resinous, cutting through the earthy dampness. It smells of pine forests in the summer heat. It is a memory of warmth trapped in a seal. We leave the aisles of amphorae and move to the back of the cellar. Here, the storage changes. We see large wooden barrels stacked on their sides. These are the cupi, the casks favored by the Gauls and adopted by the legions for their durability. The wood of the barrels is oak. It is dark, stained with age and wine. The barrels are bound with iron hoops that have rusted to a dark brown. The wood looks swollen, tight with the liquid inside. The cellarius comes over to a barrel. He holds a wooden mallet. He taps the side of the barrel. Thump. The sound is deep and hollow. It resonates in the chest. It tells him the barrel is full. Thump. He taps another one. Thump. He is checking for leaks. He looks at the floor beneath the barrels. The sand is dry. No purple stains. The wood is holding. The iron is holding. There is a small spigot made of bronze on one of the barrels. A small drop of red wine hangs from the lip of the spigot. It grows heavy. It falls. Plip. It lands in a small ceramic bowl placed underneath to catch the drips. The sound is tiny, a single note in the darkness. The wine in the bowl is dark, almost black in this light. It smells rich and sour. It is the blood of the earth. We move past the wine deeper into the storage complex. We pass a section filled with smaller jars. These hold olive oil. The smell here is different, greener, heavier. The oil is thick in the cold, moving like honey. We pass jars of garum, the fish sauce. The lids are sealed tight with plaster. The smell is faint, salty, and pungent. It is the smell of the sea, locked away in the mountains. Finally, we reach the end of the cellar. There is a low archway leading to a separate chamber. We have to duck to enter. This is the cistern. The floor drops away. We are standing on a narrow stone walkway. Below us, filling the room, is water. This is the reserve water supply for the bunker. It is fed by deep underground pipes that bring water from springs high in the mountains. The water flows in through a lead pipe in the wall and flows out through another pipe on the other side, keeping it fresh. But here, in the tank, it looks motionless. The water is black, absolutely black. It reflects nothing but the tiny flame of our lantern. The reflection is perfect, a sharp point of light on a surface of obsidian. The air here is cold and wet. It tastes of dissolved minerals, limestone and iron. It is clean air. Listen, drip, a drip, a drip. Water is condensing on the ceiling stones and falling into the pool. The sound echoes. It sounds metallic, like a small bell ringing. Pling. The echo bounces off the stone walls. Pling. Ing. Ing. It is a lonely sound, a haunting sound, but it is also a peaceful sound. It is the sound of nature infiltrating the fortress, but under control, contained. We sit on the edge of the stone walkway. We look into the black water. It is deep. We cannot see the bottom. It is a void. The Romans are masters of water. They channel it, pipe it, heat it, store it. Even here, miles from civilization, they have tamed the water. They have brought the mountain spring indoors. A lead pipe, a fistula, runs along the wall near our feet. It is gray and dull. It is stamped with the name of the emperor and the manufacturer, Imp Caesar. The letters are raised on the metal. We run a finger over them. The lead is cold and soft. It feels greasy to the touch. Inside, we can hear the faint rushing sound of water moving under pressure. S-H-H-H-H-H-H-H. It is the veins of the fort. We stand up and leave the cistern. The damp cold clings to us for a moment, then fades as we walk back into the drier air of the wine cellar. We pass a small alcove where the cellarius keeps his supplies. There is a table and a chair. On the table is a game board scratched into the wood. Ludus Latrunculorum, the game of mercenaries. It is a strategy game like chess. Small stone counters are scattered on the board, glass beads of white and blue. No one is playing. The game is paused. Perhaps the cellarius plays against himself during the long nights. Left hand against right hand, white against blue. We pick up one of the glass beads. It is a blue hemisphere, smooth and cool. We roll it between our thumb and forefinger. It clicks against our ring. Click. We place it back on the board. Next to the game is a loaf of bread and a piece of cheese. The cheese is hard, a wedge of pecorino. A knife with a bone handle sits next to it. It is a simple, still life. Food, game, light. The essentials of waiting. We walk back toward the stairs. The rows of amphorae watch us go. They do not move. They do not speak. They just stand there holding their liquid cargo. We climb the stairs. Step, step, step. The air grows warmer with each step. The smell of vinegar and earth fades. The smell of the upper house returns. We emerge back into the hallway. We lock the heavy door behind us. Clunk, click. The cellar is sealed again. The cellarius is alone with his jars. We walk down the corridor, heading towards the taberna, the small internal shop and social area for the soldiers, though it is empty now. The room is lined with a counter made of marble. In the counter are circular holes where pots of hot food would sit during the day. Now, the pots are empty and clean. The fires beneath the counter are out. On the shelves behind the counter there is a display of pottery. The red gloss ware, terra sigillata. These are the fine dishes used for dining. Bowls, cups, plates. They are stacked in perfect towers. The glaze on the pottery catches the light from the hallway. It shines with a deep coral red. We pick up a small bowl. It is light, much lighter than the heavy amphory downstairs. The surface is smooth as glass. On the bottom there is a maker's mark stamped into the clay, a small rosette. We tap the edge of the bowl with a fingernail. Ting! It rings like a bell. It is high-quality clay. We put it back on the stack. Click. In the corner of the room, a broom leans against the wall. It is made of twigs bound together with twine. A small pile of dust sits near it, waiting to be swept up. A cat enters the room, not the mouser from the Hypocaust, but a different one. This one is orange, a ginger cat with battle scars on its ears. It walks along the marble counter, its paws making no sound. It weaves between the holes in the counter. It stops and looks at us. It yawns, showing pink tongue and white teeth. It stretches, arching its back high, extending its claws for a moment against the wood of a shelf, then retracting them. It jumps down and curls up on a bench, tucking its nose under its tail. Within seconds, it is asleep. The ability of this place to induce sleep is powerful. The stillness is contagious. We look out a window slit in this room. We are on the ground floor now. The snow is piled high against the glass. We can see the layers in the snow. A layer of white, a thin layer of gray dust, another layer of white. It is a geological record of the winter. The wind outside has died down completely. The world is motionless. Even the trees have stopped swaying. We are deep in the night now, the hour between the wolf and the dog, the hour when the body temperature is lowest, the hour when dreams are most vivid. But here there are no dreams, only the reality of the stone, the clay, and the wood. We sit on a stool at the counter. We rest our elbows on the cool marble. We lean our chin in our hands. We look at the stack of red bowls. We look at the broom. We look at the sleeping cat. It is a tableau of peace. The fort is a heavy, solid thing. It is anchored to the earth. It is not going anywhere. Feel the stability of the floor. It is solid rock. Feel the stability of the walls. They are brick and mortar. Feel the stability of the air. It is still. Deep below us, the water drips into the cistern. Pling. Deep below us, the wine presses against the cork. Deep below us, the firekeeper adds a log. The systems are working. You are part of the system. You are the observer. You are the one who is safe. Let your eyes trace the curve of the archway in the ceiling. It is a perfect semicircle. It is geometry made real. It is order. There is nothing chaotic here. Everything is sorted. Everything is stored. Everything is safe. The ginger cat lets out a small snoring sound. Per snore. It is a comforting sound. You can close your eyes now. The room will be here when you open them. The bowls will not move. The broom will not fall. The snow will not melt. It is all suspended in amber, suspended in time. Rest. The silence of the bunker is not empty. It is a layered thing. It is built of stone, of wood, of deep earth, and of time. We leave the quiet domesticity of the shop and the sleeping cat, moving toward the most secure, most fortified section of the underground complex. This is where the empire keeps its promises. This is the aerarium, the treasury vault. The corridor leading here is narrow. The walls are not painted. They are bare, dressed stone, blocks of gray granite that fit together so tightly a razor blade could not pass between them. The floor is hard, echoing stone. Our footsteps change here. They become sharper, clip, clop, but the sound does not travel far. The heavy air absorbs it. We arrive at a door that looks more like a wall. It is made of bronze, thick and green with age. It is covered in studs as wide as a man's hand. There is no handle, only a large keyhole shaped like a teardrop. A guard stands here. He is awake, but he is motionless. He is a veteran, a man of 50 winters. His beard is gray and cropped close. He leans on his pilum, his heavy spear. He does not challenge us. In this dream, we are allowed everywhere. We are the ghosts of the night. The door is unlocked for the nightly audit. We push it. It is incredibly heavy. It swings inward on massive pivots, not hinges. The sound is a low, grinding rumble like a millstone turning. R-R-R-R-R rumble. Then, a heavy thud as it hits the stopper. We step inside. The room is smaller than the others, but it feels denser. The air smells of metal, a sharp, copper tang that sits on the back of the tongue. It smells of old oak and dust. It smells of wealth that has nowhere to go. Along the walls sit the chests, the archi. They are made of oak bound in iron. They are the size of coffins. They sit on the floor, heavy and immovable. They are locked with complicated mechanisms of iron and bronze. In the center of the room, at a heavy table, sits the questor's assistant. He is a young man with a serious face. He is surrounded by the tools of his trade, a set of scales, a pile of scrolls, and a small heap of coins. He is counting. Watch his hands. They are clean, his fingernails cut short. He picks up a silver denarius. He holds it between his thumb and forefinger. The metal is cool. It has a specific weight, a density that feels satisfying. He places it on the table. He does not drop it, he places it. Click. A soft metallic sound. He picks up another. Click. And another click. He is stacking them. A tower of silver, 10 coins high. He adjusts the stack with his fingertips to make it perfectly straight. The edges of the coins are serrated. They catch the light of the single oil lamp on the table. The light plays across the face of the coin, the profile of the emperor, the laurel wreath, the nose, the chin, the neck. It is a miniature sculpture in silver. It is a portrait of power, frozen in metal. The assistant picks up the stack. He weighs it in his hand. It is a solid cylinder of value. He wraps it in a small piece of linen and places it in a wooden box. Thump. A soft, muffled sound. He picks up a gold coin, an aureus. It is smaller than the silver but heavier. The gold is soft. It glows with a warm, buttery light. It does not tarnish. It looks as if it was minted yesterday, though it may be 50 years old. He holds it up to the lamp. He checks the edges for clipping. It is perfect, a perfect circle of gold. He places it on the scale. Clink, the brass pan of the scale dips. He places a counterweight on the other side, a small bronze cube. The scale balances. The arm floats level. The needle points straight up. Equilibrium. There is something deeply soothing about the balance. The laws of physics are working. The weight is correct. The world is in order. He records the number on a wax tablet. He uses a stylus made of bone. He presses the tip into the black wax. Scritch. He writes the Roman numeral L for 50. Scritch. He writes X for 10. Next to him sits an abacus. It is a bronze plate with grooves cut into it. Small beads of stone slide in the grooves. He reaches out. He slides a bead. Clack. He slides another. Clack. He slides a group of 3. Clack, clack, clack. The sound is dry and percussive. It is a rhythmic clicking, like the ticking of a clock but irregular. It is the sound of calculation. He is not rushing. He is not worried about thieves. He is deep underground, behind a bronze door, behind a legion of soldiers in the middle of a frozen wasteland. The money is safe. We walk around the room. We run a hand over the lid of a great chest. The wood is rough, the grain raised by age. The iron bands are cold. We trace the shape of the lock. It is a complex geometric shape, a puzzle of metal. In the corner there are ingots of lead and tin stacked like bricks. They are dull gray. They absorb the light. They are heavy, sitting on the floor with a sense of absolute permanence. They will not move for 100 years. The shadows in the treasury are long and sharp. The light from the lamp does not reach the corners. The corners belong to the darkness. We leave the assistant to his counting. Click, click, scritch. The sounds fade as we step back into the corridor. The bronze door remains open, a gaping mouth of security. We move down the hall to the next room. The smell changes again. The metallic tang fades, replaced by the rich, spicy scent of cedar oil and old papyrus. We are in the tabularium, the archive of maps and records. This room is lined with shelves that go from the floor to the ceiling. The shelves are filled with scrolls, thousands of them. Some are white papyrus, some are yellow parchment, some are darker leather. They are stored in hexagonal pigeonholes. Each one has a small wooden tag hanging from the end, dangling on a piece of string. The tags sway slightly as we walk past, moved by the air we displace. A map is spread out on a large table in the center of the room. It is held down at the corners by heavy bronze weights shaped like turtles. We lean over the map. It is a map of the northern frontier. The ink is faded brown. We see the line of the river, a winding snake of ink. We see the triangles that represent mountains. We see the small squares that represent forts. We see the straight lines that represent roads. The map reduces the world to geometry. It takes the chaos of the forest and the storm and turns it into neat lines on a piece of sheepskin. The surface of the map is textured. We can see the pores in the skin of the parchment. There is a small stain in one corner, perhaps a drop of wine from a general's cup years ago. A tiny piece of history recorded by accident. A scribe is working here. He is repairing a torn scroll. He is an elderly man with glasses perched on the end of his nose. He holds a small brush. He dips it into a pot of wheat paste. The paste is thick and white. He paints a thin line of paste along the tear in the paper. Swish, swish. The movement is delicate. He places a thin strip of fresh papyrus over the tear. He presses it down with a bone folder tool. Rub, rub. He smooths it out. He blows on it gently to help it dry. He rolls the scroll back up. He does it carefully, making sure the edges align. He ties it with a red ribbon. He places it back in its pigeonhole. It is safe again. The room is very quiet. The walls are lined with wood, which dampens all sound. It feels like being inside a wooden box, a humidor for history. There is a window here, but it is covered with a heavy wooden shutter. We cannot see the snow, but we know it is there. We can feel the cold radiating from the stone wall around the shutter, but the room itself is warm. The scribe picks up a bottle of cedar oil. He puts a few drops on a cloth. He rubs the wooden tag of a scroll. The oil preserves the wood and keeps insects away. The smell of cedar fills the air. It is a clean forest smell. It clears the mind. We sit on a stool in the corner. We watch the dust motes dancing in the light of the scribe's lamp. The room is filled with the dust of centuries. Every time a scroll is moved, a little more dust is released. It settles on the table, on the floor, on our shoulders. It is the dust of time. It is not dirty, it is just matter in a different form. We close our eyes and breathe in the cedar scent. It is relaxing. It opens the lungs. We stand up and leave the archives. We walk further into the complex. We enter a long gallery, the cryptoporticus. It is a covered hallway, half underground, that connects the different wings of the bunker. One side of the hallway is lined with statues, busts of ancestors, generals, and emperors. They are carved from white marble. They stand on stone plinths. They are motionless. They are silent. We walk past them. Here is a man with a stern face and a bald head. His eyes are blank stone, staring at nothing. Here is a woman with an elaborate hairstyle of stone curls. Here is a young man with a toga draped over his shoulder. The marble is cool to the touch. We run a finger down the cheek of a stone general. It is smooth as ice. The statues are ghosts that have been frozen in time. They do not sleep, but they are eternally at rest. The floor of the gallery is a mosaic, small black and white tiles. We walk slowly, looking at the patterns. A geometric border, a pattern of ivy leaves, a pattern of waves. Our eyes follow the lines of the tiles. They weave in and out, under and over. It is a labyrinth for the eyes. The repetition of the pattern is hypnotic. Square, square, triangle. Square, square, triangle. At the end of the gallery there is a bench. We sit down. The gallery stretches out before us, a tunnel of stone and shadows. The torches on the walls flicker slightly. The shadows of the statues move. The stone general seems to nod. The stone woman seems to turn her head, but it is just the light. We are alone with the stone people. They are good company, they do not speak, they demand nothing, they are just there. The air in the gallery is cool, cooler than the archive, but not cold. It is the temperature of a cave. We pull our cloak tighter. The wool feels rough and warm against our neck. We listen. Is there a sound? Far away, we can hear the faint thump of the heavy door to the treasury closing. Thump. The audit is finished. The money is locked away. Now there is only silence, a deep, hollow silence that fills the stone hallway. We look at the ceiling. It is vaulted, made of brick. The bricks are arranged in a herringbone pattern, up, down, up, down. We count the bricks in one arch. 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbers blur. 10, 11, 12. The visual rhythm of the bricks matches the slow rhythm of our breathing. The hallway seems to stretch longer, infinite. A tunnel to nowhere, a tunnel to sleep. We stand up slowly. We are moving towards the exit of the gallery. We pass a small alcove with a fountain. It is not running. The water has been turned off for the night. The basin is dry. A single dried leaf sits in the bottom of the basin. It must have blown in months ago before the snow. It is brown and brittle. It is a memory of autumn. We walk out of the gallery. We are back in the main corridor. The journey continues, but the destination is always the same. Peace, quiet, warmth. The scribe has put away his glue. The treasurer has put away his abacus. The statues are watching the empty hallway. Everything is in its place. The empire is a machine of order, and you are safe inside the machine. Imagine the heavy bronze door. Imagine the weight of the gold coin. Imagine the smell of the cedar oil. Imagine the smooth, cool marble. Let these sensations weigh you down. Let them anchor you to the bed. You are as heavy as the iron chest. You are as still as the stone statue. The night is long and there is no need to rush. We have all the time in the world. We leave the echo of the stone gallery behind. The statues of the ancestors stare into the darkness as we turn a corner, moving toward a wing of the fortress that is dedicated to the mending of the body. We are approaching the valetudinarium, the military hospital. The heavy wooden door is already slightly ajar to allow the air to circulate. As we push it open, the smell hits us gently. It is not an unpleasant smell. It is complex, earthy, and clean. It is the scent of dried sage, of crushed garlic, of strong vinegar, and of burning rosemary. It is a medicinal smell, ancient and reassuring. The main ward is a long, rectangular room. It is designed with a central corridor and small cubicles on either side, separated by partitions of wood and heavy canvas. The ceiling is high, allowing smoke and stale air to rise and escape through vents near the roof. The light here is dim. A few oil lamps burn on low tables, their flames kept small to avoid disturbing the patients. The light is warm and yellow, creating a soft, golden bubble around each table. We walk softly down the central aisle. The floor is tiled with smooth terracotta, scrubbed clean. Our sandals make no sound. In the first cubicle, a soldier is sleeping. He has a bandage wrapped around his ankle. The white linen of the bandage stands out against the dark wool of his blanket. His breathing is deep and even. He is young. His face is relaxed, the lines of pain from earlier in the day smoothed away by sleep and poppy syrup. On the small table beside him sits a cup of water and a small bowl of broth, now cold. A fly lands on the rim of the bowl. It rubs its front legs together. It flies away. We move further down the aisle. We reach the preparation area, the pharmacy of the Legion. This is the domain of the capsarius, the medical orderly. He is awake, sitting at a heavy oak table. He is preparing a poultice for the morning change of dressings. The table is covered with jars and bowls. He holds a mortar and pestle. The mortar is made of heavy volcanic stone, dark and porous. The pestle is polished wood. He puts a pinch of dried leaves into the bowl. Yarrow, it smells dusty and bitter. He begins to grind, crush, grind. The sound is gritty, stone against wood against dry leaf. It is a rhythmic, friction-filled sound, scritch, scrunch. He adds a drop of honey from a ceramic pot. The honey is thick and amber-colored. It moves slowly, stretching into a long, thin thread before breaking. Drip. He mixes it in. The sound changes. It becomes sticky. Squish. Slap. The mixture turns into a dark paste. He works with total focus. He does not look up. His movements are efficient, practiced. He scrapes the sides of the mortar with a small bronze spatula. Scrape, scrape. He gathers the paste into a small ball. He places it on a square of clean linen. He folds the linen over. 1 fold, 2 folds, 3 folds. He sets it aside on a tray. There are rows of ceramic jars on the shelves behind him. They are labeled with painted letters. Acetum vinegar, Mel honey, Papaver poppy, Salvia sage. Each jar holds a cure. Each jar holds a piece of nature, harvested in the summer, dried in the sun, and stored here in the bunker to fight the winter ailments. A bundle of dried lavender hangs from the rafters above the table. It is gray-purple. It sways very slightly in the rising heat from the lamp. The scent drifts down, mixing with the sharp smell of the vinegar. Lavender is for calm. It is for sleep. The orderly wipes his hands on a rag. He picks up a small pair of bronze forceps. He examines them in the lamplight. They are a marvel of Roman engineering, delicate, precise, the tips meeting perfectly. He dips them into a bowl of boiling water sitting on a small brazier to sterilize them. A small puff of steam rises. Hiss. He lays them on a clean white cloth to dry. The metal gleams in the low light. We leave him to his quiet work and walk to the back of the hospital. There is a small room here for the storage of linens. The room is filled with shelves of wood. Piled high on the shelves are bandages, sheets, and towels. They are all made of linen or wool. The smell here is dry and fibrous. It smells of flax and sheep. A woman is here. She is a local auxiliary hired to help with the laundry and mending. She is sitting on a stool, a pile of white strips in her lap. She is rolling bandages. She takes a long strip of linen. She smooths it out on her thigh, swish. She begins to roll it, tucking the end in tight. Roll, roll, roll. The roll grows larger. It becomes a perfect cylinder of white cloth. She tucks the loose end in. She places the finished roll in a basket. She picks up another strip, smooth, swish, roll, place. The repetition is endless. It is a cycle of order, making chaos into neat cylinders. There is a pile of unrolled strips on her left. There is a basket of rolled bandages on her right. She is moving the pile from left to right, transforming it in the process. The linen is slightly rough to the touch, but it softens with use. It is a sturdy fabric. It breathes. She hums a low tune, barely audible. It is a monotone hum, matching the rhythm of her hands. We watch the dust motes floating in the air of the linen room. They are white, tiny fibers of linen that have broken free. They catch the light, looking like tiny snowflakes, but they are warm and dry. We move out of the hospital wing. The air feels cooler as we step back into the corridor, leaving the smell of herbs behind. We walk towards the vestiarium, the main clothing store and repair workshop for the fort. This is different from the armory. This is where the soft goods are kept. The room is large and filled with wooden racks. Hanging on the racks are hundreds of tunics, red tunics for the soldiers, white tunics for the officers, heavy woolen cloaks, the pinula. The cloaks are thick felted wool. They are heavy. They hang still, their weight pulling them straight down. They form a wall of wool. We walk between the rows of hanging cloaks. The fabric brushes against our shoulders. It feels coarse and scratchy, but also incredibly warm. It is like walking through a dense, soft forest. The smell here is powerful. It smells of lanolin, the natural oil of the sheep that makes the wool water-resistant. It smells of moth-repellent herbs, cedar chips, dried wormwood, scattered on the floor. At the far end of the room, a loom has been set up. It is a vertical, warp-weighted loom. It is silent now. The weights, stones with holes drilled in them, hang at the bottom of the threads, pulling them taut. The threads are vertical lines of white. The shuttle, wound with red wool, sits on a bench nearby. The work is paused in the middle of a row. We can see the pattern emerging, a red stripe on a white background. We reach out and touch the tension of the warp threads. We pluck one gently, thrum 'em. A low, dull vibration. The thread is tight. A basket of raw wool sits near the loom. It is unspun, a fluffy cloud of fleece. It looks soft and chaotic. Next to it is a drop spindle, a wooden stick with a whorl of bone at the bottom. The spun yarn is wound around the shaft. It is thin and strong. The transformation from the fluffy cloud to the tight thread is a miracle of patience. Twist and pull, twist and pull. We sit on a bench covered in sheepskins. The skins are soft and deep. We sink into them. The room is insulated by all the fabric. The walls are lined with tapestries to keep the cold out. The floor is covered in rugs. It is the quietest room in the entire bunker. The fabric absorbs every sound. If you were to shout here, the sound would die instantly. But we do not shout. We barely breathe. We look at the shelf of boots, spare caligy. They are stacked in pairs. The leather is new, stiff, and pale brown. It has not yet been darkened by oil and mud. The hobnails on the soles are shiny and sharp. Rows and rows of boots, waiting for feet, waiting for the march. But tonight they are just objects, shapes of leather and iron. We pick up a small sewing kit from a table. It is a leather roll. We unroll it. Inside there are needles made of bone and bronze. There are small shears. There are spools of thread. We pull a needle from the leather loop. It is cool and smooth. The eye of the needle is tiny. We put it back. We are surrounded by the textures of survival. Wool to keep the heat in. Leather to keep the water out. Linen to keep the skin clean. The Romans understood that the empire was built on these materials as much as on stone and iron. A soldier who freezes cannot fight. A soldier who has no boots cannot march. So this room, this quiet, smelly, dusty room, is a temple of strategy. We lean back against a pile of folded blankets. They are stacked 5 feet high. The stack is solid and dense. It supports our weight. We look up at the ceiling. It is timber dark with age. A spider has spun a web in the corner. It is a perfect spiral. The spider is waiting. The loom is waiting. The boots are waiting. We close our eyes for a moment. We can imagine the sound of the sheep grazing in the summer hills, far away in Italy or Gaul. Bah! The sound of the wind in the grass. That summer warmth is trapped in this wool. We are wrapped in the memory of summer. We stand up, brushing a piece of lint from our tunic. We walk slowly out of the vestiarium. We close the door. The smell of lanolin is cut off. We are back in the stone corridor. We pass a window. The moon has moved across the sky. The angle of the shadows in the snow has changed. The snow is blue in the moonlight. It looks like the ocean, frozen in mid-wave. It is beautiful, but it is hostile. We are glad to be inside. We continue our walk. We are heading towards the latrinae, not because we need them, but to admire the water. In a Roman fort, the water never stops flowing. We enter the room. It is communal, with marble seats along 3 walls. But what matters is the channel of water that runs constantly beneath the seats, and the channel of fresh water that runs in a gutter along the floor for washing sponges. The sound here is constant, rush. It is the sound of a mountain stream. The water enters from a pipe in the wall. It is clear, icy cold, and fast. It flows through the stone channel. It swirls around corners. It exits through another pipe, carrying waste away into the deep sewers far away from the fort. The engineering is relentless. Gravity does the work. We watch the water flowing in the gutter. A small leaf floats by. It travels fast. It disappears into the drain. The water is clear. We can see the stone bottom of the channel. The stones are smooth, polished by the water. There is a bucket of sponges on sticks. the xylospongium, soaking in a basin of vinegar water. The smell of vinegar is sharp here, masking everything else. It is clean. It is functional. We wash our hands in a marble basin. The water is freezing. It shocks the skin. We dry them on a rough towel. The skin tingles. It feels alive. We leave the room, and the sound of rushing water fades behind us, returning to the silence of the corridor. We are deep in the night now. The fort is settling. The stones are cooling slightly, contracting, crack. A tiny sound from the wall. The wood is settling, creak. The earth is settling. We find a niche in the hallway with a bench. We sit down. We are near the center of the fort again. We can feel the presence of the hundreds of men sleeping around us. Their collective breathing creates a rhythm in the air, a slow, tidal rhythm of sleep. You are part of this collective. You are safe in the bunker. The walls are 3 feet thick. The door is bronze. The lock is iron. The guard is awake. Nothing can hurt you here. The winter is outside. You are inside. Imagine the pile of wool blankets again. Imagine sinking into them. Imagine the smell of lavender. Imagine the rhythmic grinding of the mortar and pestle. Grind, grind, grind. The sound is hypnotic. It slows your heart rate. It smooths your breathing. The world is simple. It is made of stone, wood, wool, and water. It is made of silence. Rest in the simplicity. Rest in the safety. The night is yours. We have explored the heights of the granary and the depths of the cellar. We have seen the fire and the ice. Now, we descend to the spiritual foundation of the bunker. In a Roman fort, even on the frozen frontier, there is always a space carved out for the divine. But this is not a grand temple of marble with shouting priests and public sacrifices. This is a place of secrets, of shadows, and of silence. We walk to the very end of the lowest corridor. The stone here is natural bedrock, rough-hewn and dark. The air is cool and still, possessing a weight that feels like the pressure of the earth itself. There is a small, unassuming door made of dark oak. There is no sign, no marking. Only those who know the way enter here. We push the door open. It moves silently. We step into the Mithraeum. This is the temple of Mithras, the god favored by the soldiers. It is designed to resemble a cave, the speleum. The ceiling is low and vaulted, plastered and painted dark blue to mimic the night sky. We stand at the entrance and let our eyes adjust to the gloom. The only light comes from small oil lamps placed on the floor along the side benches. The flames are tiny, flickering points of yellow in a sea of blue darkness. The room is long and narrow. On either side are raised stone benches, the podia, where the initiates would recline for their ritual meals. Now the benches are empty. They are covered with thin mats of woven reeds. The mats are worn, frayed at the edges. We walk slowly down the central aisle, the cella. The floor is beaten earth, hard as concrete. Our footsteps are absorbed by the ground. Thud, thud. Look up at the ceiling. The painted stars are gold. They are arranged in the patterns of the constellations. Taurus the bull, Canis Minor, the raven, the snake. They are static, frozen in their celestial dance. The paint is old. Some of the gold has flaked away, revealing the gray plaster underneath. But in the dim light, the illusion holds. We are standing beneath an eternal underground sky. At the far end of the room is the altar. It is a relief carving in the stone. It depicts Mithras slaying the bull. The scene is full of action, the cape flying, the muscles tensed, but here in the stone it is motionless. It is a moment of violence turned into a moment of peace. A single stick of incense burns in a bronze holder before the altar. It is frankincense. The smoke rises in a thin, straight line. It does not waver. It climbs until it hits the ceiling, then spreads out, forming a hazy cloud that hangs in the air. The smell is resinous, sweet, and heavy. It fills the nose and slows the mind. It is the scent of ancient rituals, of time suspended. A soldier is sitting on one of the stone benches. He is not praying. He is not performing a ritual. He is simply sitting. He is wearing his tunic, his armor left in the barracks. His hands rest on his knees. He is staring at the flame of a lamp on the floor. He watches the flame dance. It stretches up, becomes thin, then squats down, becoming blue at the base. He breathes in time with the flickering. In, the flame grows; out, the flame shrinks. He is finding his center. The day was long, the drill was hard, the cold was biting. But here in the cave of the god there is no weather, there is no rank. There is only the stone and the star. We sit on the bench opposite him. The stone is cool through our clothes, grounding us. We lean back against the damp wall. The wall feels solid, immovable. It supports us completely. We listen to the silence of the temple. It is different from the silence of the library or the cellar. This is a pregnant silence, a silence that is waiting, but it is not waiting for anything in particular. It is just being. Water drips somewhere in the back of the room. A natural spring has been incorporated into the temple. Drip, drip, drip. The drops fall into a small stone basin. The sound is hypnotic. It marks the passage of time without numbers. We close our eyes. The smell of the incense wraps around us. The image of the gold stars on the blue ceiling remains in our mind's eye. We are floating in the underground sky. We stay here for a long time. There is no reason to leave. The soldier does not move. The smoke does not stop rising. The water does not stop dripping. Eventually, we stand up. We leave the soldier to his meditation. We walk back up the aisle, our shadow stretching long before us, cast by the altar lamps. We open the door and slip back into the corridor. The door clicks shut. The temple is sealed once more. We continue our journey through the infrastructure of the bunker. We are moving towards the source of the sound we heard in the temple, the water. We enter the Casella Maqui, the water distribution chamber. This is where the aqueduct enters the fort. The room is dominated by a large settling tank made of concrete lined with waterproof pink mortar, opus signinum. The water enters through a channel near the roof. It pours into the tank in a steady, clear sheet. Whoosh. The sound is constant. It is white noise, a wall of sound that blocks out everything else. The water swirls in the tank. The sediment, sand, and small pebbles sinks to the bottom. The clean water flows over a weir at the top and into the lead pipes that feed the baths, the kitchens, and the fountains. We stand by the edge of the tank. The air is cold and moist. A fine mist hovers over the water. We watch the current. It creates small whirlpools. They spin clockwise. They form, spin, and dissolve. Form, spin, dissolve. The water is gray in the low light. It looks like liquid metal. It is relentless. It has traveled miles from the mountains, flowing through tunnels and over bridges under the ice and snow to reach this room. A maintenance worker, the Aquarius, is here. He holds a long pole with a net on the end. He is checking the intake grate. He sees a leaf caught against the bars, a single brown oak leaf. He lowers the pole. He scoops the leaf up. He shakes it onto the floor. The grate is clear. The water flows unimpeded. He leans on his pole and watches the water. He has watched it for years. It is always different, yet always the same. The sound of the water is a lullaby. It drowns out thoughts. It washes away anxiety. Rush. We trace the path of a lead pipe leaving the tank. It runs along the floor, thick and gray. We can hear the water rushing inside it if we put our ear close. Hiss. It is the artery of the fort. We leave the water room. The sound of the rushing water fades as we walk away, becoming a distant hum, then silence. We are walking back up towards the upper levels. We pass the heating channels again, the Profernium. We stop to look at a section of the wall where the plaster has cracked slightly, revealing the tubuli, the hollow, rectangular bricks inside the wall. We put our hand against the wall. It is warm. The heat from the fire below is traveling up through these bricks. We can feel the movement of the hot air. It vibrates slightly against our palm. It is a miracle of engineering, to capture fire and send it through the walls. We lean our cheek against the warm plaster. It feels like a living skin. It is comforting. We continue walking. The The corridors are endless. They are a maze of safety. We pass a niche with a statue of Terminus, the god of boundaries. He is a simple stone pillar with a bearded head. He marks the edge. He marks the boundary between the warm Roman world and the cold barbarian world. He marks the boundary between waking and sleeping. We are approaching the guard room near the postern gate. This is a small back entrance rarely used. 2 soldiers are there. They are playing a game of dice. They are sitting on stools, a wooden board between them. One soldier shakes the leather cup. Rattle, rattle, he throws the dice. Clatter, they look at the numbers. Venus throw, whispers one. He moves a piece on the board. They do not speak loudly. The night is too quiet for voices. The game is slow. There are no stakes. They are playing just to pass the time until the sun rises. They look up as we pass. They nod. We nod back. We are all companions in the long wait. We walk past them to the small window slit in the gate. We look out. The view is different here. We are looking at the forest edge. The trees are black skeletons against the snow. The moon has set. The world is dark, but the snow glows with its own faint luminescence. A fox moves across the field. It is a dark shape low to the ground. It stops. It listens. It dives into the snow. It comes up with something. A mouse? A vole? It trots away and vanishes into the tree line. Life continues in the cold, but we do not have to participate. We turn back to the warmth. We find a stairwell we haven't climbed yet. It leads to the roof of the headquarters building. We climb the stairs. We open the hatch. For a moment, we step out into the true night. The cold hits us like a hammer. It is 30 degrees below zero. The air is sharp and dry. It freezes the hairs in our nose instantly. But we are wrapped in heavy cloaks. We are warm inside our layers. We stand on the flat roof. The tiles are covered in snow, but a path has been cleared for the lookouts. We look up. The clouds have cleared completely. The sky is a dome of velvet black, pierced by millions of stars. They are hard and bright. They do not twinkle, they burn with a steady, icy light. The Milky Way is a slash of diamond dust across the sky. It is vast. It is indifferent. It makes the fort look like a toy. But the toy is sturdy. We look down at the courtyard. We see the glow of the lamps from the windows. We see the smoke rising gently from the chimneys. The fort is a warm island in a sea of cold. We do not stay long. The cold is too aggressive. We step back through the hatch. We pull it shut. Thump. The cold is locked out. The silence returns. The warmth returns. We descend the stairs. The air gets warmer with every step. We are descending back into the womb of the bunker. We feel a wave of drowsiness. The exposure to the cold air has made the warmth feel even better. Our limbs feel heavy. Our eyelids feel heavy. We walk blindly down the corridor, guided by the walls. We run our hand along the rough stone. Texture, temperature, safety. We find ourselves near the scriptorium again. The scribes have all gone to bed. The room is empty. The desks are clear. Only the smell of ink remains. We sit in one of the scribes' chairs. It is wooden, polished smooth by years of sitting. We rest our head on the desk. The wood is cool against our forehead. We listen to the fort breathing, the hum of the draft, the drip of the water, the distant snap of a log in the fire, the shuffle of a guard's boots. It is a symphony of boredom. It is the most beautiful sound in the world. It means there is no danger. It means there is no war tonight. It means you can let go. The stars above the roof are spinning slowly. The water in the tank is spinning slowly. The blood in your veins is moving slowly. Everything is slowing down. The empire is asleep. The emperor is asleep. The soldiers are asleep. The fox is asleep. You are here in the quiet heart of the world. There is nothing left to explore. There is only the warmth, and the stone, and the dark. Let the image of the blue ceiling with gold stars fill your mind. Let the sound of the rushing water fill your ears. Let the smell of the frankincense fill your nose. You are drifting. You are floating in the underground river, carried along by the current of sleep. We have walked the length and breadth of the emperor's bunker. We have seen the grain that feeds the body and the fire that warms the stone. We have smelled the vinegar and the cedar, the baking bread and the burning frankincense. We have touched the cold iron of the treasury and the soft wool of the barracks. Now the journey nears its end. The night has reached its deepest point. This is the hour of the wolf, the time when the sun is farthest from the earth, and the world is suspended in a deep, gravitational lull. We find ourselves walking back towards the center of the complex. The corridors seem longer now, stretching out into infinity. The torches that line the walls have burned low. Many have gone out, leaving only the occasional pool of amber light to guide us. The spaces between the lights are dark and velvet soft. We move slowly. Our legs feel heavy, a pleasant heaviness that comes after a long walk. Our eyelids feel thick. The rhythm of our own breathing is the loudest sound in the world. We pass the door to the kitchen. It is dark now. The ovens are cooling, though they still radiate a gentle warmth. The smell of the bread has faded to a faint, comforting memory. The baker is asleep on his bench. The mice are asleep in the walls. The flour dust has settled on the floor, a fine white layer of silence. We pass the door to the bathhouse. The water in the caldarium is still hot, but the steam has settled. The surface of the pool is a mirror of black glass. The drops of condensation on the ceiling have stopped falling. They hang there, waiting for the morning. We pass the barracks. The snoring has deepened. It is a collective drone, a low-frequency vibration that hums through the wooden bunks. It is the sound of trust. These men trust the walls. They trust the sentries. They trust the heat. They have let go of their vigilance, and in doing so, they give us permission to let go of ours. We arrive at a small, spiral staircase we have not taken before. It leads up to the central watchtower, the highest point of the bunker that is still enclosed. We climb the steps. Creak, step, creak, step. The wood is old and dry. At the top there is a small room, the specula. It is a room of windows looking out in all four directions. But tonight the shutters are closed against the bitter cold. Only narrow slits remain open, covered with thick green glass. A single guard sits here. He is the night watch. He is wrapped in so many layers of wool and fur that he looks like a bear. He is sitting in a chair, his head nodding against his chest. He is not asleep, but he is drifting in the borderland between waking and dreaming. On the table in front of him is an hourglass. The sand has run out. The bottom bulb is full. He has not turned it. Time has stopped. We look through the glass. The world outside is unrecognizable. The snow has continued to fall, burying the landscape. The familiar shapes of the trees and the hills are gone, replaced by soft white mounds. The fort itself is being buried. The snow is piling up against the stone walls, insulating them, wrapping the bunker in a blanket of ice. The wind has stopped completely. The air outside is motionless. The snowflakes are suspended in the darkness, falling straight down in slow motion. We turn away from the window. The cold radiating from the glass is too sharp. We want the warmth. We descend the stairs. We go down past the main floor, past the cellars, back to the Hypocaust. We return to the source. The fire keeper is asleep. He is sitting on his stool, leaning against the warm brick wall. His chin rests on his chest. His breathing is a slow wheeze. The fire has burned down. There are no flames now. There is only a bed of deep, pulsing coals. They are a dark, rich red, covered in a fine layer of gray ash. They look like breathing stones. The heat is less intense now. It is a mellow, radiant heat that seeps into the bones. It is the heat of a dying fire, the most comfortable heat of all. We stand there for a moment watching the embers. Occasionally a spark shifts, click, a tiny sound, a piece of charcoal settles, crinkle. The red glow illuminates the arches of the ceiling. It paints the room in shades of copper and shadow. This is the heart of the Roman winter, a bed of coals in a room of stone. We leave the fire keeper to his rest. We walk back up to the main level. We are looking for our own place to rest. We find a room at the end of a private hallway. It is a guest chamber, reserved for visiting dignitaries, but tonight it is for us. We push the heavy wooden door open. The hinges have been oiled, they are silent. The room is small and intimate. The walls are paneled in dark walnut wood. The floor is covered in thick rugs from the east, patterned in deep reds and blues. In the center of the room is a bed. It is a simple wooden frame, but the mattress is thick, stuffed with the softest goose down. The sheets are made of the finest Egyptian linen, washed until they are as soft as silk. On top of the sheets are blankets of heavy wool. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, and on top of that a heavy fur throw, bearskin, dark and glossy. A small brazier burns in the corner. It contains the last embers of a fire, casting a very dim, orange glow. The light is so low it barely reaches the corners of the room. The corners are lost in shadow. There is a small table next to the bed. On it sits a pitcher of water and a cup. We pour a small amount of water. It flows silently. We drink. It is cool and clean. It tastes of the mountain spring. We sit on the edge of the bed. The mattress yields under our weight. It is soft, embracing. We take off our sandals. Plop, plop. We wiggle our toes on the warm rug. We undo the belt of our tunic. The leather is stiff, but it comes loose with a sigh. We lay it on the chest at the foot of the bed. The metal buckle makes a soft clink against the wood. We lie down. We pull the covers up. The linen is cool against the skin for a second, then the heat from the body is trapped by the wool and the fur. We pull the blankets up to our chin. We pull them up to our ears. The weight of the bedding is immense. It presses us down into the mattress. It holds us still. It feels like being hugged by the night itself. We look up at the ceiling. The beams are dark shadows crossing the dim light. We focus on one knot in the wood. It is a dark swirl. We trace the shape of the swirl with our eyes, round and round, inward and inward. The silence in this room is absolute. The thick stone walls, the layers of snow outside, the heavy wooden door, the tapestries, they all work together to block out every single vibration of the world. There is no wind, there is no water dripping, there is no fire crackling, there is no breathing but your own. Listen to your breath, in, out. It sounds loud in the quiet room. Slow it down, in, out. The brazier in the corner dims. The orange glow fades to a dull red, then to a faint gray. The shadows in the room grow longer. They merge together. The distinction between the wall and the floor disappears. The distinction between the bed and the air disappears. You are floating in warmth. You are safe in the Emperor's bunker. The legions are guarding you. The stone is protecting you. The snow is hiding you. Think back to the things we have seen. The slow drip of the honey in the pharmacy. Drip. The smooth oil flowing from the jar. Flow. The dust motes dancing in the granary. Dance. The steam rising from the bath. Rise. Let these images drift through your mind like leaves on a slow river. They are not important. Nothing is important. The empire will still be here tomorrow. The walls will still be standing. The snow will still be white. But for now, the history book is closed. The scroll is rolled up. The wax seal is set. The light in the room is almost gone now. Just a tiny pinpoint of red in the darkness of the brazier. Focus on that pinpoint. It is a dying star. It is getting smaller, smaller, smaller. Your eyes are heavy. They feel like stones. Let them close. There is no need to keep them open. The darkness behind your eyelids is the same as the darkness in the room. It is a warm, velvety darkness. Sink deeper into the mattress. Feel the heaviness of your arms. Feel the heaviness of your legs. Feel the warmth of the fur against your cheek. You are deep underground, 30 degrees below freezing outside, but here it is eternal summer, eternal peace. The last ember in the brazier goes out. The room is black, absolute comforting black. The silence wraps around you. The story is over, the work is done. The night is yours. Sleep, sleep, sleep.